So, is the Connecticut housing market finally starting to slow down? That's probably the number one question that I'm getting right now. Or, as one person asked me last week, is the bubble about to burst? And depending on who you ask, you'll hear completely different answers. Some people say the market is cooling, others say it's still impossible to buy a house. So, which is it? Well, the truth is both, because Connecticut isn't one housing market anymore. It's 8 completely different county markets. Over the past 2 years, one county added nearly $70,000 to its median home price. Another county actually saw prices decline. Some homes are still selling in just 1 week or even a couple of days, and others are sitting 3 times as long as they used to. So today we're going to go county by county to see what's actually happening across Connecticut, what changed over the last 2 years, and more importantly, what these numbers mean if you're thinking about selling, buying, or simply wondering what your home is worth today. I'm Devon with Dave Jones Realty. I'm based here in Middletown. I've been an agent for almost 20 years. If you're interested in this information, be sure to click the subscribe button for more videos. But let's dive into what this topic is about. Is the bubble about to burst? One thing that I'm always going to tell my clients is this: do not go by national headlines. Don't let them make decisions for you. The national housing market does not determine what happens in your neighborhood, on your own street. Connecticut doesn't even move as one market. Every county is going to behave differently. You've got mountains, you've got beaches, you've got farmland. You've got different inventory, you have different buyers, different affordability, and a different demand. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at today with county comparisons instead of broad, statewide averages. Because averages hide opportunities. They also hide warning signs. So the data that we're looking at compares where these counties were roughly 2 years ago, where they are today, and how buyer behavior has changed during that time. And here's something that jumped out just pretty immediately. Despite the higher mortgage rates that we are currently seeing, when I say higher mortgage rates, I'm saying, above that 2.5%, 3% that we got a number of years ago. So we're hovering in the in the sixes, right? So in the sixes. So despite these higher mortgage rates, and despite affordability challenges, despite waiting for the prices to fall, Connecticut home values have climbed nearly every county. And maybe not at the same speed, but almost everywhere. So that tells us something really important. Demand is still stronger than the supply. Yep, you got your supply and demand curve. It's the only thing that I really understood in economics was a supply and demand curve. So, until that changes, prices have a pretty strong floor underneath them. So let's look at where the demand is the strongest. And we're going to start with Fairfield County. Now, disclaimer, I do not do a lot of business in Fairfield County. Even though it's only about 30 to 40 miles away from me, it could be 3 hours depending on traffic. So I will preface that I don't do a lot of business in Fairfield County. And, there's no surprise, it's still Connecticut's most expensive housing market. But what surprised me wasn't that it's expensive. It's about how much it continues to appreciate. 2 years ago, the median sales price was $620,000. 1 year later, it climbed to roughly $660,000. And today, the median price is $690,000. So think about that. That's approximately $700,000 and $70,000 of appreciation over 2 years. And that's without homeowners even doing anything. That's, no renovations, there's no additions, no major improvements. It's just market appreciation. Now imagine buying a $620,000 home 2 years ago, and today your equity position may have increased dramatically simply because demand continues outpacing supply. So that's why people who say, I'm waiting for the prices to crash, you really need to understand something. Connecticut hasn't been behaving like many other parts of the country. Our inventory remains incredibly tight, and that really, really does change everything. So let's talk about the speed, because appreciation is only half of the story. Homes in Fairfield County are now taking around 19 days to sell. So at first glance, somebody may hear 19 days and think, wow, the market must be slowing. Not exactly. We're going to add some context to this. 2 years ago, homes were selling in roughly 14 days. Today, they're taking 19. So it's an additional of 5 days. That is not a market collapse. That's a market becoming slightly more balanced. And that is really a big difference. If you compare that to what we consider to be a normal market before 2020, homes often sat for 60, 90, 100 days. 19 days is still incredibly fast and incredibly competitive. So while buyers have a little more breathing room, sellers are still very much in control if the house is priced correctly. Other videos on how pricing affects it. And here's another statistic that I love looking at, and that is the average amount that homes are selling over asking price. Because this tells us something that listing prices never can. It tells us how buyers are behaving emotionally. Fairfield County homes are still averaging more than 4% over asking. So that means that buyers are still competing, and they're just simply choosing where they compete. Move-in ready homes, desirable neighborhoods, updated kitchens, great photography, those properties still create major bidding wars. Meanwhile, homes that are overpriced, need significant work, or simply just miss the overall mark, those buyers are walking away from. This isn't a market where every house sells instantly anymore. It's a market where the best homes do. And that's a really, really important distinction. Now we're going to go over to Hartford County, because this may actually be one of the strongest stories in Connecticut. Everybody's always talking about Fairfield and their prices, but Hartford has quietly become one of the most, if not the most competitive counties in the state. Median prices have increased from roughly $350,000 to nearly $384,000 over the last 2 years. That is a very healthy appreciation. It's steady appreciation. And it's the kind that lenders like, it's the kind that homeowners like. That kind usually creates sustainable growth instead of these bubbles. But price isn't what caught my attention. It's this number that did. Homes are selling in approximately 7 days. Seven. A little friends remark there, or friends reference there. 7 days. It is amazing. And so think about what this buyer experience is. A house hits the market on Thursday, an open house is going to be Saturday, multiple offers on Sunday, decision on Monday. That is what's going on over and over and over again. And I know this because I've got buyers looking in the West Hartford market, and it is the MO for every single listing. It's what me as a listing agent is telling my clients, that this is how quickly your house is going to sell. So if you're waiting until next weekend to look at a house, or you think that it's going to stay on the market for a week and maybe you can get a deal, you're going to be too late. That's the reality that buyers are facing throughout much of Hartford County. So combine that with the other number. Homes are selling nearly 6% over asking price. Some are 8%. West Hartford, 8%. So not only are homes selling fast, they're selling aggressively. Why? Because Hartford County occupies an interesting place in Connecticut. It offers more affordability than Fairfield County, yet it still provides excellent commuting options. You have strong employment centers, you got great schools, and a wide variety of housing. As buyers continue getting priced out of Fairfield, many naturally expand their search. And where are they going? Hartford County. And that's exactly what all of these numbers are suggesting. Demand hasn't disappeared, it's shifted. One thing I want buyers watching this video to understand. Competition doesn't always mean paying the highest price. It means being the most prepared. The buyers who are winning today, they're fully underwritten, they know their budget, they've already spoken with their lender, and they understand what they can comfortably afford before they can ever walk through the front door. That's becoming more important than ever. 7 days does not leave room for hesitation. Okay, so let's go south, and we're going to go into New Haven County, and this is one of the largest of the Connecticut housing markets. What's interesting here is how balanced the numbers actually have become. The median sales price has climbed from around $360,000 to approximately $395,000 today. So that's, again, solid appreciation. Not quite as dramatic as Fairfield, not quite as competitive as Hartford, but very healthy. Now here's something else that you want to pay attention to. Homes are averaging around 10 days on market. Again, think about the perspective. 10 days, still extremely fast. But compared with Hartford 7 days, it suggests that buyers may just have a little bit more opportunity to think about the houses that they're looking at. Maybe schedule a second showing. Maybe compare two homes. That's not a buyer's market. It's simply a market that's becoming more rational. The average sale over asking price sits just under 3%. All right, so again, what is this telling us? Competition is still existing. It's simply less emotional than it was a couple of years ago. Buyers are negotiating a little bit more carefully. They're inspecting more carefully. They're choosing more carefully. And honestly, that's healthier for everyone. Now, here's something that I actually found fascinating. Sales volume in New Haven County increased year over year, and that is important because higher price points don't always equal a healthy market. Transaction volume tells us whether people are actually moving, and New Haven buyers are still buying. So that tells me confidence remains strong. Maybe not euphoric, but certainly healthy. So after looking at Connecticut's 3 largest counties, a pattern is already starting to emerge. Prices are climbing, inventory is still limited, homes are still selling quickly, but buyer behavior is changing. Buyers are becoming more selective. They're negotiating a little bit harder than they used to. They're taking a little bit longer, and they're no longer throwing offers at every single listing. Instead, they're choosing quality. And that creates a completely different strategy for sellers. Because the days of simply putting a sign in the yard and hoping for 20 offers, those days are becoming less common. Presentation matters, pricing matters, marketing matters. And as we move into the rest of the state, the story becomes even more interesting. I'm going to give you a very specific example in a West Hartford listing appointment that I just went to, where as I'm pulling all the comparative homes and I'm telling the seller about a price point, I'm pulling homes that are overpriced, immaculate condition, great location, but overpriced and have been sitting on the market for 35 days. When you have an average of days on market of 7 days and you're getting 108% or you're getting 8% over asking price, no house in West Hartford should be sitting for 35 days. The number one reason is overpriced. So, I did say that we'd cut back to that. I also have other videos about that. So you have to talk about a well-priced home, a well-presented home, a well-marketed home to achieve all of these stats. Now let's change our focus to the counties that don't always make the headlines, because sometimes the most interesting opportunities aren't found in the hottest markets. They're found in the markets that quietly keep moving forward while everyone else is looking somewhere else. And that's exactly what we're seeing in Middlesex County. That is my county. That is where our office is in Middletown. So if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you've probably heard me talk about Middlesex County and Middletown. I've always believed it's one of Connecticut's most underrated housing markets, and these numbers are really going to reinforce that. Over the past 2 years, the median sales price has increased from $400,000 to $493,000. That is almost a $100,000 increase in 2 years. Let's just let that sink in. So for homeowners, that's substantial equity growth in a relatively short period of time. Now, compared to Fairfield County, Middlesex does not generate the same headlines. It doesn't have the same volume of transactions. That's exactly what makes it really interesting. It's steadily becoming more valuable without experiencing the extreme volatility that we've been seeing in other larger metropolitan markets. To me, that's a sign of a really healthy market. Now let's look at the buyer demand. Homes in Middlesex County are selling in about 7 days. That's the same as Hartford County, so think about that. A county with significantly fewer transactions is matching one of Connecticut's hottest markets in terms of speed. That tells me that buyers are moving decisively when quality homes are becoming available. Again, let's talk about quality, well-priced, well-positioned, well-presented. Inventory is still remaining tight, and good homes are still very, very scarce. The buyers know that they cannot afford to wait. At the same time, homes are averaging around 2.5% above asking price. That number is lower than Hartford. It is lower than Fairfield, but I actually see that as a positive. Why? Well, because buyers are still being competitive. They're still offering. They're just competing intelligently, and listing agents and sellers are being more realistic. Instead of writing offers $20,000 or $30,000 over asking without even thinking about it, they're making strong offers based on value. And that's what a healthier market is supposed to look like. If I were a buyer looking in Connecticut today, Middlesex would be absolutely on my radar. Not because it's inexpensive, but because it continues showing consistent appreciation while maintaining a balanced level of competition. It's the kind of market where long-term homeowners tend to do very well. Okay, let's go east, and we're going to go to New London County. And New London County is a completely different story. Over the past 2 years, the median prices climbed from roughly $360,000 to $445,000. Again, almost $100,000 an increase. And it is, again, one of the strongest price increases in Connecticut. And here's where it gets interesting. Sales volume actually declined slightly year over year. Fewer homes sold. That's all that means. Sale volume declined because fewer homes sold. yet prices continue to rise. So how does that happen? Simple, supply remains limited. Even with fewer buyers completing transactions, there still weren't enough homes available to satisfy the demand. Important lesson, prices don't rise simply because more people are buying. They rise when demand exceeds available inventory. Remember, supply and demand curve. There are two very different things. Homes in New Haven County are averaging about 8 days on market. Still, very, very quick. Maybe not Hartford fast by 1 day, but it's not a slow market. So if you're selling a well-maintained property in New London County, the odds are still very much in your favor. All right, we're going to go to the complete other side of the state and talk about Litchfield County. Again, this is a county that I don't do a ton of work in. I have amazing colleagues out in the western part of the state that are really, really experts in Litchfield County, but it did catch my attention because it's one of the few counties where median prices actually moved backwards year over year. The median price now sits around $408,000, down from the previous year. Now, before anybody panics, let's just put this a little bit into context. 1 year does not define a market, especially in counties with lower transaction volume. A handful of luxury sales, or a lack of them, can dramatically influence the median price. That's why I never look at one statistic in isolation. Instead, let's ask another question. How quickly are homes selling? The answer? About 22 days. So yes, noticeably longer than the counties that we've discussed so far, but not alarming. It's just different. So here's what I think is happening. Buyers are becoming more patient. They're negotiating more carefully, and the sellers need to recognize that. Pricing strategy becomes even more important when buyers have additional choices. The days of testing the market with an unrealistic list price becomes much, much riskier, especially in Litchfield County. And we have Tolland County. So this county continues showing strong appreciation. Median prices have climbed to approximately $430,000, and homes are still selling in roughly 6 days. It's one of the fastest in Connecticut. What does that tell us? Demand remains extremely healthy. There's a common theme with all of these counties, right? So even though affordability has become more challenging, it's another reminder that buyers haven't disappeared. They're simply making faster decisions once they find the right home. And finally, we have Windham County. Median prices currently sit around $390,000. Pricing is softened slightly compared to last year, but homes are still averaging only about 9 days on market. Again, hardly a slow market. Instead, it's another example of buyers remaining active while becoming more selective. And I think that's the phrase that best describes Connecticut's housing market today. More selective, not weaker, more thoughtful, not absent. So what does this mean if you're buying? All right, let's step back from the numbers for a minute, because statistics are only useful if they help us make better decisions. If you're buying a home right now, here's what I would take away. First, stop waiting for the market to crash. Nothing in this data suggests one is happening across Connecticut. Could individual towns soften? Absolutely. Will every property appreciate forever? No. But statewide, demand continues exceeding supply in most counties. Second, know your market. Buying in Hartford County requires a different strategy than buying in Litchfield County. And they're completely different types of homes as well. The timelines are different. The competition is different. The negotiations are different. Treating every county the same is a huge mistake. And lastly, preparation wins. The buyers getting homes today are not necessarily paying the most. They're simply ready, pre-approved, educated, decisive. What does this mean if you're selling? For sellers, this message is equally important. It is still a fantastic market, but it isn't the market that we had in 2021. Today's buyers expect value. They expect presentation. They expect pricing that reflects current conditions. Professional photography matters. Marketing matters. Preparation matters. If your home checks those boxes, the market is still rewarding those sellers. If it doesn't, buyers have become more willing to move on to the next listing. So what happens next? Where do I think the housing market in Connecticut goes from here? I think we're entering something that we needed to for a long time. Normalization. Not a crash, not another frenzy. Normalization. Homes may stay on the market just a little bit longer. Multiple offers may become less common, but still multiple offers. Negotiations may become a little bit more balanced, But unless inventory changes dramatically, I do not see anything in today's data suggesting widespread price decline across Connecticut. Instead, I think we're going to continue seeing local markets tell very different stories. Some counties will outperform, others will level off. And that's exactly why local expertise matters more today than it did a few years ago. The biggest takeaway from today's video is simple. Don't let one headline convince you that every market is moving in the same direction, because it's not. Fairfield County is not Hartford County. Hartford is not Middlesex, and so forth. Every county has its own story, just like every state has its own story. And every buyer and seller deserves advice based on what's happening in their market and not someone else's. So if you found today's breakdown helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I put these market updates out there to help you make an informed real estate decision using real data and not sensationalized headlines. If you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere in Connecticut and you'd like to know where these numbers are specific for your town or neighborhood, I am happy to help. I am Devon with Dave Jones Realty, where we do everything but the packing.